गरेका व्यक्तिहरू जनताको माझ प्रिय
Corruption adversely affects each and every sector of the country.
Ideology.
Just is a great location for Nepal to explore its potential.
Namaste and welcome to Nepal's Top 7 Debaters produced by Leadership Academy.
This is the semi-final round in the Category 6 of Bachelor's Level English Language, and the topic for today's competition is Federalism is not the current need of Nepal.
Let me now introduce our panel of judges for today's semi-final round. Our first judge is Mr. Nitzan Arny. He is the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Israel Embassy in Nepal.
Our second judge is Ms. Sampada Malla. She is the Creative Director of Sarwanam Theatre.
We will now begin with the debate.
Federalism is not the current need of Nepal. I'd like to present 3 simple points to support my argument. Firstly, federalism is not economically feasible and practical in the context of Nepal. Secondly, federalism does not ensure to reduce poverty and corruption. And lastly, and most importantly, the ethnic federalism that is proposed by the major political parties of Nepal is not appropriate because of ethnic diversity in Nepal. Now, there are 25 countries that follow the federal system, which includes India, USA, Brazil, Germany, Australia. Now, these countries are geographically very large in area and they are economically powerful nations. On the contrary, Nepal is in the developing phase and we are also small in area. Thus, federalism is not practical and economically feasible in the context of Nepal. Now, secondly, federalism does not ensure to reduce poverty or corruption. Now, if this was the case, then India that follows the federal system would not have slum areas, and there would not be such a great difference between economic and social gap between the rich people and the poor people in India. Now, the ethnic cleansing of Bosnia, the genocide of Rwanda and the heart-rending massacre of South Sudan are all the consequences, all the brutal consequences of ethnic federalism. And our political parties, our major political parties has proposed ethnic federalism for Nepal. Now, this is not practical because we are ethnically very diverse land. Now, let's suppose that we assume a state, we declare a state as a Darai state of Nepal. Now, the Darai people would definitely get more advantage and their voices will be heard. But there are also minorities living in the same states. Now, there are communities like Muggars, like Brahmin and Kshetris, whose voice would be ignored in the state, and there is a chance of conflict in that particular state. Now, our constitution must be such that it must unite the people of Nepal and not divide them. Thus, federalism is not the current need of Nepal. Thank you.
Federalism is the current need of Nepal because it's very simple. The people, the supreme power of the state themselves have made a choice to accept this system. Why? Because the people realized that there is needed equal development and there is needed to promote national integration in each and every area of the country, and this is possible through federalism. Previously, the previous system of government, there was no any equal development in any area of the country because the central government was too much concentrating only on the capital city only. For example, in Kathmandu, if you get contracted with the diseases, then you can find hospitals, health posts, clinic, and in every area of Kathmandu. But if you go to the people of Karnali region, where for years, for decades, they have been contracted with this jaundice, this diarrhea. Why isn't the government so much concentrating? It's because the central government hasn't given impasses. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that if there was federalism, and if there is federalism, then the local government of that area will have to provide such facilities, not only in just health sector, in education, in transportation, in establishing university, in communication, in every sector. So that's why federalism is the best model of Nepal. And another thing, the Constitution of Nepal 2047, has stated that Nepal is a multilingual and multi-ethnic country. But it is just like what government of Nepal does, only write in the paper and don't act at all. Constitution of Nepal 2047 have failed to protect, to identify, or to explore the identity of the people, the ethnicity of the people, because of which the people from all the ethnic groups, they have started to raise their voices, and with the political parties, they involved in a movement. What I would like to say here is that it was not only just overthrowing of monarchy, it was also the people, for all the ethnic groups, to have their voices raised. So that's why federalism is the best model in the country, because it helps people from all ethnic groups to give their own distinct identity. And what my fellow opponent just said recently was that she said that there is Australia, Germany, United States and all, but she doesn't realize that there is 10 times much smaller in area and in population than Nepal. That is federal state of Micronesia. And it has a GDP of nearly 25,000 US dollars per year. So why is it working in federal state of Micronesia and why not in Nepal? With this, I would like to say that federalism is indeed the current need of Nepal, and it is the best system for governance. Thank you.
The very beginning of federalism came with an idea that a bigger or a larger republic is better than a smaller one. And federalism also focuses in the philosophy of coming together and holding together. I'd like to ask my worthy opponent that is Nepal in the state of coming together and holding together? Let me also say that federalism was always implemented in most of the countries with a certain purpose and on a certain circumstance. For example, in USA, federalism was introduced in order to ensure the security of their nations and to smoothen trade and commerce. In Germany, it was introduced in order to control absolutism, and in India, to unify their nations. When we have all of this included in our central ruling system, then why do we need federalism in our country? Let me also state the core points why Nepal cannot implement federalism. The first thing is, there is no clear domination of any ethnic group as proposed by our political groups. And also, in the terms of economy, Nepal is poor. Nepal is in debt with organizations like World Bank and IMF. So, my worthy opponent, is it rational to increase indebtedness or to decrease indebtedness? Because once we go to federalism, there will be an increase in the state expenses, the expenses to treat our bureaucrats. Let me give you an example of Bosnia. I was shattered that they spend 80% of their expenses in treating their bureaucrats. So what will we do? Now let me move towards the geopolitical situation of Nepal. Our country is a neighbor to China and India, which is growing economically and is being sound economically. So at this phase, is it rational to, is it good to risk our sovereignty in this place? No. My worthy opponent, you also said that federalism improves the economy. It gives a very good platform to people, and you also gave me examples of many rural areas of Nepal. But let me tell you that there are failed federalisms in country as well. There are countries that started with minimum of states and now has increased. For example, in India, it started with 11 states, it has 28 states, and now the Nepalese of Indian origin are fighting for the next state. So, what if we divide our country in that basis? Will it be rational? Will it be good for our country? What if our country starts from certain number and end up in the majority of our ethnic groups? Therefore, my friend, federalism is only a way of administering your country or our country. It is not a miracle. That's why I'd like to focus that. Why mend if it ain't broken? Instead of that, we should focus on making our constitution, which has been lined up, which has been pending, and the dates are being increased, and we even went for the second election. So therefore, I'd like to say that our country needs a proper constitution. The law of the land should be preserved and protected because it can be amended as per the need of the citizen. Thank you very much.
Nepali of Indian origin. She called them Nepali of Indian origin. They are not Indians. They are Maithili, Bhojpuri, Awadhi. And we believe that they are as Nepali as we are. Because they are called Indians, today they feel that they are not part of this country. In 1951 AD, they created a party, Nepal Tarai Congress. Media have not covered this, but it is there. In 1959 AD election, first election of Nepal, they participated and got 2.1% vote. What Mahinda did in the end? It created Chitwan as a city of Paharis. The whole district was converted. The world's smallest federal country is St. Kitts and Nevis. That's smaller than Lalitpur district, the second smallest district of Nepal. Economics. My dear friend spoke about economics. America, Australia, Switzerland, all the three countries were in third world when it took federalism. Switzerland is 3 times smaller than Nepal. It has 3 times less population, and yet it has 26 cantonments. How is it sustained then? By that structure, we can have 75 districts as 75 states. India is a prosperous country right now. What do we speak about Rwanda? It's a unitary country. What do we speak about Sudan? Because northern Sudan did not give them autonomy, they had to fight, which led to Sudanese war. First Sudanese war, second Sudanese war. And what was the end? Sudan has split up. Because people are not giving them the rights of the people, they are not being able to grow. Quebec people in Canada are together because Canada have given them autonomy, federalism. And so is the case of Belgium. But because people are not understanding it, people are just making accusations, spreading rumors which aren't true. If you had to understand this topic, I had once asked a very popular leader, Padma Tulata, why should Nepal take bicameral legislature and not unicameral legislature? He told me, we never talked about unicameral. The truth is, Nepal is so diverse that it does not sustain by unicameral. If we have unicameral, then we can have small assembly. If you had to go in this topic in detail, the ecology of Nepal is very diverse. In the Himalayas, we have Yarsa Gumba, Himalayan tourism, and in Tarai, there's agriculture. But because there's only one assembly, there's not being able to grow. By having different assemblies for different regions, we can have a very good and more efficient regulations because there will be each assembly for each place, from north to south, from east to west. Thank you.
May I request the judges for their comments and the participants to come up on stage.
First, I want to say it was a really interesting topic, and you all were great, I think. I gave you all great marks on confidence, presentation. It was clear. You were able to build great arguments. With all that, I have a few remarks. The first one is that the topic is federalism is not the current need of Nepal. What I understand from that is it good for Nepal right now? Or maybe it was good for Nepal 20 years ago, or will be good for Nepal in 10 years from now. And I think all of you kind of missed it. Maybe not all, but most of you did. And second is when you are giving a comparative argument, you are comparing Nepal to a different place. You should also explain why does it make sense to do the comparative. Does it make sense to compare Nepal to the USA or to Germany? I'm not so sure. So some of you did explain why are you comparing it to Micronesia, for example, but not all of you. So these are the two things I will try to emphasize next time.
Everyone demonstrated extremely well debating skills. About Abhilasha, what I liked about her was the way she was so confident in delivering what she said. Her eye contact and the modulation of her voice. I think that these are the skills that a good debater should have. The points that she compared between the world and how federalism was, she was speaking for federalism is not the current need of Nepal. I think the way she compared it was tremendously, brilliant for me. I think a little bit of pauses could have been removed, but I think overall, she was brilliant. About Ronab, what I liked about him was, when he spoke, more than his words, his body movement was really, really powerful when he expressed his views. It was as if he believed in that, and I could feel that. Again, the way you were you were comparing the issues of Nepal and with the world was, very impressive. A little nervousness did tamper your thoughts because, at that stage when I was looking at you, your nervousness, it made me feel that, does he really believe in what he's saying? So I think if that had been removed, I think it would be brilliant. But again, it was a well done thing. For Mandira, I think, personally, I'm speechless, because I think it was amazing, the points that you kept, and not just the points, but the points combined with your body language, with your gestures, with your postures, with your eye contact, with the voice that you spoke, with the belief. I felt personally that you believed what you were saying. And I think that is the skill of a good debater, that when you actually believe in what you're saying, that's when we will believe what you are saying. So I personally really liked it, and I would like to applaud you really in this topic. About Kripendra, again, I think he was a bit serious, and of course it's a very serious topic, federalism, the requirement of federalism. But I think, again, he was very brilliant in what I especially liked about his debate was how he ventured in Nepal's context, how federalism, and yes, he was the one who actually, he was the one who actually did understand the topic and did realize that federalism is not, he was against it, is the current need of Nepal. He was the one who was actually speaking about the current need of Nepal, giving the examples of Nepal, which I thought was powerful. I think all of you were brilliant. Thank you.
We will now begin with the rebuttal round.
My opponents argued that federalism would ensure development and it would ensure the proper allocation of resources. But there is no evidence that in Nepal federalism would ensure development. Now, as we all know that Nepal is already divided into 5 development regions and 75 districts. Now, what our current need is that we need to have a proper interconnection between these development regions, and we do not need federalism, and especially federalism that is based on ethnicity. Now, ethnic federalism, there are so many diverse ethnic backgrounds. There are hundreds of ethnically diverse groups in Nepal. Now, if we divide our country, our land into these ethnic groups, then there will definitely be a lot of conflicts, and the economy is also a major factor that comes along the way. Now, here we are not being able to facilitate and accommodate one government. Now, how can we accommodate a central government and the local government? So, in order to develop, we do not need federalism. What we need is unity and the interconnection between the development regions and the geographic regions of Nepal. Thank you very much.
What my opponent just said was that ethnicity-based federalism really divides the nation. Is the ethnicity-based, okay, if ethnicity-based federalism really divides the nation, then is it the only option that we have? Can't we have federalism based on other criteria as well? For example, if I divide Nepal into 5 states based on this development region, like Eastern state, Central state, Western state, Far Western state, Mid-Western state and all, then all these states will have access to India and China, which means all the states can frame their policies based on their import and export and their local resources that they have. This will really ensure the development in each and every state of the country. Isn't this possible? And also, looking at what my opponent said, I think she was trying to say that this, by decentralizing the authority from the central government to local government, it will result in tier of the nation, which means the nation will get divided politically and geographically as well. But what I would like to remind to my opponent is that decentralized government doesn't mean separatism. In a way, it is a way of ensuring full democracy. And when there is full democracy, my friends, then only there is development. So with this, and that is what we need, development. So with this, federalism is really the need of Nepal. Thank you.
Federalism is rare, as its prerequisites are many, as stated by K.C. Ware. I think this statement is true, because federalism is itself an expensive system for a country like Nepal. My friend said he would divide our country into 5 states. What is the point, my friend? We have already divided ourselves into 5 development regions. And then we have district development committees, we have village development committees, we have local wards, and we have municipalities. So I think you want to travel centuries back when our country had 22 and 24 Rajya. I think I feel the same. Let me tell you, when we introduce federalism in our country, we also will have to increase the need of our human resource. When there's when there's brain drain in our country, from where will we manage all the human resources? My friend, you also said that after we divide, it will be developed and all. But let me tell you, I think corruption will increase. So instead of dividing our country into states and all, why don't we just focus on making the constitution of our country, the law of the land? And like my friend also said that the Tarai citizens wanting to get citizenship of Nepal. Let me tell you that 25 lakhs of them are from India itself, and those and 60% of our economy has been increased because of them. Now, isn't this a risk to our sovereignty? My friend, I still would like to state that our politicians should be mutual, should have a consensus, and they should focus on making the law of the land so that our country can go towards development on a straight path. Thank you very much.
My friend, please do not call them Indians. They aren't Indians. They are as Nepali as we are. Each Madeshi is a Nepali. Do not make them Indians. My friend asked about what is the promise, or what she thinks about, or what's the opinion that they will increase corruption. But she don't have any evidence. So how can she say like that? Uttarakhand was created from Uttaranchal, and see how developed Uttarakhand is. If you create state, it brings development, and that is a fact because I have bring an evidence. 22 and 24, Malla Confederation or Limbuan, see how well they have managed themselves. See how they have united themselves and brought development. See the Malla palaces, and you will see that the essence of competition can bring development. Now there will be a central which will help them to grow. Previously, they were fighting amongst themselves, they were competing and developing. I'll tell you how many ethnicities there are in Nepal. According to 2011, there are 126 communities in this country. And now we have 4,000 VDCs. If we are to have the confidence in them that one day they can be a federal city, they will work hard. If they can cluster themselves and work hard, they can bring development. And that's how it is the current need of Nepal. Thank you.
While the judges are finalizing the marks, I request the participants to come up on stage.
From both of our sides, I mean, we would like to congratulate you because you all were excellent and it was really, really difficult for us to choose the best. The first participant that has managed to go to the final round is Mandira Tripathi. And the second participant who is going to the next round is Ronab Singh Khatri. Abhilasha and Kripendra, you were extremely good, but this is competition. Someone loses, someone wins. I would like to wish you a good career ahead, as good as the Nepal's best debaters. And congratulations to the winners.
If you are a student studying in between grade 7 and bachelor's level, you can apply for Nepal's top 7 young poets and Nepal's top 7 debaters. The application submissions are open now.
We invite you to participate in the alternative education programs run by Leadership Academy. You can call our office at 980-2032-195 or email us at leadershipacademyktm@gmail.com. We will be back next week with another new topic. Have a nice week and namaste.